remember if I go to restream and like flip over the stream to what we're supposed to be doing. We are live, by the way. Well, we're working on live. It's just the intro script. I always forget, and then I panic as soon as I click start streaming, even though I've done that thing immediately before that. I just forget. Can't help it.
He was talking about
What's going on, everybody? Wednesday, February 7th. Nope, Thursday,
Definitely
February 7th.
Thursday, but you got
man.
February 7th right. So half and half.
Yep, great start.
Good start, dude. Good start. Wow.
Thursday, February 7th. Look, a lot's been going on. Today is NBA trade deadline. It's going to be a crazy day in DFS. Last night was a crazy night in DFS. People getting traded while they're on the floor. It was nuts.
Yeah. In-game trades for Jackson, for Harrison Barnes, for
Harry Barnes on his way to Sacktown.
Zeba doesn't really count. They just, quietly whisked him away from the bench. But
Otto Porter off to the Bulls.
Otto Porter's another one. Bobby Portis
making his way to Washington. Markieff Morris going to the Pels.
Yeah, how long is he even out for still?
I have no idea. No clue.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter.
And then you had Tobias Harris, but that didn't affect yesterday.
No.
It will affect today. I did the Early Bird podcast with EMAC, and when I tell you, man, Lou Williams' numbers with Tobias Harris and Gallo off the court, blow your mind.
He's gonna enjoy those extra shots that he has the ability to take.
Yeah, he's not cheap though.
He's certainly not. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. Fast Eddie and I will be on from 2:00 till sometime just after 3, breaking down any trades that come in, both from a general basketball perspective to the DFS impact of anybody on the move. I'm pumped. I love the trade deadline. Trade deadline, draft time, those are the days that I live for. I love the inner workings of like the cap. I love trying to think about how people fit in.
That makes one of us.
I'm such a nerd for that stuff. I have all these weird cap Excel spread. Not that that's surprising. Weird cap spreadsheets and stuff. Always going to Larry Coons.
Are you really?
Yeah, always going to Larry Coons' cap FAQ. Yeah, I'm super into this stuff. Down to the minutia of like, oh, they're under the tax by $5 or something stupid. I can't get enough of it.
Super valuable information.
Just to me, basically.
Stuff that'll give you an edge in life.
It absolutely. This is coming from the guy that is super proud of hog tying a guy in Red Dead and dragging him behind the horse.
Well, actually, I've created a new approach, but I won't get into that.
Okay.
I finally finished yesterday. I had stopped playing for a couple weeks, and they had the epilogue, and they wanted me to like shovel pig shit. I said, "What am I doing here? Well, what? This is a video game. I can choose whether I want to do this or not." So I said, "I'm not doing this." Took some time off, and then my neighbors said, "You got to get back, man. Trust me, it gets better." So I go back, and I trusted him, and he was right. It got better. It got way better, and the ending for John Marston is so much more fitting. I told you, I didn't tell you what the ending was the first time, but I was pretty pissed.
Great. I'm getting there.
This makes things a whole lot. Where are you at right now?
Like deep into Saint Denis.
Okay. I know you just get sidetracked and go around.
Yeah. Last night was one of those where I stumbled upon someone just out on a nice horse ride. He gave me some information about this house that I could rob down the line.
Oh, you blew off his shackles?
No. Right? This guy was just he invited me up to camp. Hey, friend, plenty of room around this fire.
Usually it's the escaped prisoners that give you those hot tips.
Right. So I was like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Thanks for letting me know about this house. Here's a
then you killed
rope
him.
that I'm going to wrap you up in, and here's a flaming bottle that I'm going to hit you with." The problem was I was too close to him when I hit him with the flaming bottle.
You lit yourself on
Yep,
fire.
caught myself on fire and died. So karma got me. Karma got me.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Oh, man.
NBA Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first monthly package with Osmo. If you want to join us, hop into our premium Slack channel. Talk killing strategies in Red Dead and how you gain a lot in life by lighting people on fire on a mountaintop. But 50% off. You can't really beat that. Plenty of content, rankings, projections, ownership projections, premium articles, and then Slack, where we all hang out way too much.
Fun place to be.
Most of the time, yeah.
Well, you're there too much. That's the problem.
I really am. Well, right now the wife is out of town, so I don't really have anything else going on.
You got to do something different, man. You got to go. You got to go ahead and just and do something. Do figure out something you can do. Go see a movie on your own, maybe. Go see a IMAX 3D movie on your own, Josh. That sounds like a great plan.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not.
Shark movie,
of course,
or something.
bring your phone and check your scores.
Yeah, and then stay on Slack.
And stay on Slack. Yeah, but go.
Yeah. Maybe open the window today. I mean, I could do that. Get some air.
Yeah, I could. I'd probably freeze to death.
I think it's 70 here right now.
Brutal.
63. Bright sunny day.
Yeah, you're a lucky fella.
All right, so we've got 6 games today. It would be really nice if today was one of those days where it was an 8 o'clock start, but it's not. And there is going to be a lot in flux. So we're giving you our best guess right now of where we think we're going. But a lot of these teams are going to have pieces that play that change hands today.
And the honest truth is, if you're not going to be around, and you got to go eat dinner with the family at 6:30, and you'll be back. You're going to shove it down your throat, be back by 6:50 to finish your lineups. You might be better off just playing like one lineup or not playing today.
Yeah.
So you're going to need to be around the computer in order to, definitely.
Actually, no. Well, not really. I mean, trade deadline's at 3. At that point in time, everything should be relatively settled. It's still,
yeah, that's true.
It's still more variant today in that we'll have guys entering and exiting rotations and not necessarily know what the true.
No, you're right. I
is.
don't even know why I think I got a little bit too much tied up from yesterday. That yesterday was
last night would have been
intense.
a good day to sit out.
Yeah. Yesterday you get the Bobby Portis news like a minute before that game locks.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, today is going to be harder in that we're going to have who knows who gets traded from the Hawks today, and what that does to the rotation. Who knows what the Clippers do today? The Lakers could be down 5 dudes at 3 o'clock today.
Yeah, no question.
The Memphis Grizzlies might be down. I mean, Marc Gasol is already not playing. There's no guarantee that Mike Conley is the starting point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies at 3:01 today. You could see the Raptors do something crazy. The Magic are in the market for a point guard. Is Markelle Fultz the new point guard of the Orlando Magic at 3:01 today? Who knows?
That would be funny as shit.
Yeah. Could be. I mean, I like it for the Magic if it happens.
Of course you do.
Well, he can't play in Philly any longer, so.
The in Philly part was unnecessary.
What do you mean?
You can't play.
Oh, come on, man. He's young.
No, he's young. I just think it's funny that everyone's like, "Oh yeah, no. He'll be fine on another team. He just needs some new scenery." I mean, how do you know? You don't know.
He might
personally,
be cooked. He might be
nobody
totally
knows.
cooked. But he
Right,
is
like,
never returning to Philadelphia to be the.
No, of course
anything.
not. I'm saying the idea though that bringing him somewhere isn't a massive gamble, and you're just hoping that maybe a little bit of a change could make it a difference. if you don't have that mentality and you're like, no, it's specifically because he's in the city of brotherly love. You're full of shit. You don't know. Neither
No,
do I. I have no idea.
no. You hope that he is healthy enough to play basketball and that he can go to a situation where he can get minutes that aren't like playoff run impacted. He needs a low leverage situation right now to just get back on the floor and be a basketball player. And you weren't going to get that in Philly now with, them having legitimate Eastern Conference championship aspirations. I would have said title
And guess what?
aspirations, but they don't have those.
And that was his fault because he was supposed to be that guy. They were never supposed to bring Jimmy Butler in. That
Yeah.
he was supposed to be the next one in line.
Yeah. They never. Oh, they talked about that on the Ringer NBA show yesterday. Jimmy Butler is not a Sixer if Markelle Fultz doesn't have this happen.
Of course not.
If they draft Alonzo Ball or Jason Tatum, Jimmy Butler is not on the Sixers, nor is Tobias Harris.
Of course not. That the whole the process was working. They got the last first overall pick that you would have, hypothetically that you would have needed, and it wasn't because he was terrible. I mean, terrible.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
It is. I hope he gets it together and can put together a career.
Yeah, I don't. But I meant unfortunate for the Sixers.
Oh, a horrible person. You are that person that's going to hogtie somebody and drag him behind the horse, man. You're metaphorically dragging Markelle Fultz behind the horse.
The funny thing is I think I'm a pretty decent person in real life. What bothers me is that when it comes to Markelle Fultz and his time in Philly, I don't exactly think that he's handled himself entirely properly either. And I've made excuses for him time after time, like, hey, listen, he's a kid. He's a kid, this and that. But he's been given every opportunity to sit out and get well and do this and do that and go to this place, go, and then it hasn't made a difference. So, look, do I want the kid? I don't want the kid's career to go up in flames, but it already has. So what am I really wishing upon him anyway?
That's a good point. Well, I just got really good news, so that's exciting.
What's that?
My old man had a PET scan today. Had it Monday. Everything came back clean, and they are taking out his port that he had in for chemo.
Well, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, big ups, Pops. I know you're not listening to this shit. You're sitting in a waiting room in a hospital, but dope. No more port. Awesome. Get that shit out of your shoulder. In 3 years.
What did he have?
He had mantle cell lymphoma.
Okay.
Which I know very little about.
Yeah.
Outside of the fact that it's a lymphoma. But it's gone.
I don't know much about it either.
Evidently.
That's awesome. Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. So, I just got that text from my mom. Cool. Ready to get it started?
Let's do it.
Indiana Pacers hosting the new look Los Angeles Clippers. Doesn't appear that any of those guys are going to be playing for the Clips today. At least no Shamet. Wilson Chandler obviously out regardless.
Oh no Landry Shamet. What are we ever gonna do?
Alrighty. 110.5 implied total for the Pacers. 106.5 for the Clips. It's a 2.5 point. Yeah, 2.5. What am I talking about? 4-point favorites for Indiana here. A little bit of a pace-up spot. We've got Myles Turner at 7,700 on FanDuel, 6,500 on DraftKings, $25 on Yahoo. Am I crazy, or is Turner like a really nice play at 6,500?
No, I think it's a perfectly reasonable play, actually. I love this game. I like Turner. I love Turner, actually. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate. Emac and I discussed this on the early bird. I do think that first of all, our ownership, I'm assuming they're not out yet. Our ownership projections.
I didn't see them 2 seconds ago, but if this most recent message is Tom telling me no, they're not out yet.
Okay. Yeah, Tom does a fantastic job of getting them out pretty early, though, so I'm assuming they will be soon. Myles Turner, I expect to have some ownership here. I don't see why you wouldn't. It is a stellar spot. You're talking about a Clippers team that's been pulverized, Josh, by centers this year. When you look at, I tell you a lot. The DVP can be so misleading and noisy, but with centers, it tells a little bit more of a story than
Yeah.
other positions. They're 29th in points allowed. They're 28th in rebounds allowed. This is to centers. They've just been crushing they're 28th in even assists allowed. If you factor that in, block shots, Myles Turner leads the league in blocks. The Clippers are allowing or have been blocked the 5th most times by centers. They've been blocked the 3rd most as a team in the entire league, behind only the Hornets and the Knicks. You just seriously just go across the list. They've been crushed in every position. Only the Suns are allowing more free throw attempts to centers this year. It's an excellent spot. And I think it's also a great spot for Sabonis. So Sabonis is going to go totally overlooked, especially after playing 22 minutes in that monster 42-point blowout win over the Lakers. Then, yeah, I like him at $5,900 on DraftKings and he's 64 on FanDuel. But yes, Myles Turner to me is as of now, one of my top plays on this slate.
True Birds fan in YouTube chat said, "Are you worried about Turner's minutes?" No, there's nothing to worry about. He's going to play 30 plus minutes if this game is close. He only played 24 because they beat the Lakers by 1,000.
22, but exactly.
Yeah. He's like 3 previous games, 32, 31, 35. He's a 30 plus minute a game center right now. I don't think
they won by 42 points.
Right? Yeah. They just happened to wax the shit out of the Lakers.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah, he's on the floor. If this game is remotely close and he gets his normal rotations, he plays north of 30 minutes today.
Mm-hmm.
In a fantastic spot, too.
Dude, it's a brilliant spot. Look, so first of all, if you look at his rotation, he played 9.5 minutes in the first quarter. He didn't come back till 2 minutes left in the second quarter. You know, that kind of sucks, whatever. But then played 10.5 minutes in the third quarter, never returned. That was against the Lakers. That game, I mean, they were up by 20 some points at halftime. I told Emac I bet on the Lakers second half line. You know, I always bet Warriors second half. Like literally almost every time they're on the schedule, I generally bet Warriors third quarter, especially if they're losing. I'll bet whatever the line is, they always cover. Right? They always do at home, particularly. And Warriors second half. I'm like, LeBron James. Yeah, you know, they're not going to get embarrassed here against an Oladipo-less Pacers team. Well, boy, I couldn't have been more wrong. They came out so flat in that second half. They clearly had zero interest in playing basketball. So that happened. But take the game prior to that. I think the Pacers-Pelicans game is a lot more relevant, right? Because whereas that game was a monster blowout against the Lakers, this one's a little bit different, and that one was competitive till the final buzzer. Myles Turner, yes, got the short second quarter rotation as he always does, but you're going to see 6.5, 7-minute fourth quarter rotation, which the long first quarter rotation, 10 or 11 minutes and 10.5 minutes in the first and third quarter. Then he's going to give you 7 minutes in the fourth. You're going to get up over 30 minutes. There's nothing to worry about there.
No, not at all. I love this Pacers team. I don't know what it is about teams that have like solid basketball dudes that is always like really appealing to me. You know, like the Corey Joseph types. I don't know. For some reason, I have a soft spot for those kind of guys.
I like Corey Joseph. Yeah. I mean, he's a decent enough basketball player, terrible fantasy player, but he has value in the NBA.
Yeah. I like those glue guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to have quite a bit here of the Pacers. Turner, Collison.
I like Bogdanovich too.
Yeah.
Today.
Thad Young on FanDuel for 6,500, I think, is in a really good spot.
Yep. And Thad Young also has been a little bit more involved as a distributor lately. They really think about it. They don't have many options in that respect, right? Like
No.
Corey Joseph, let's not kid ourselves. He's not exactly the next great passer. Uh, and that's not he's not going to be. Collison's good there in that spot, but who else really is? Like you don't have those type of players on this team. Collison, since Oladipo went out, leads the team with 14.3 potential assists per game. Really nice number, by the way. Actually, really solid. Joseph second at 7.1. Thaddeus Young is third with 6.6. So for a power forward that generally doesn't get much in that area, I like that. He's out. What does he have? 10.9 assist points created per game. Those are good numbers, Josh. If you get even 4 or 5 assists from Thad Young, you feel pretty good about it, especially given that that's not where all of his production is going to come from.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, even like all the way down to Tyreek Evans. I mean, I think there are 7 legitimate guys that you can have in bulk entry today for the Pacers.
That's where you and I go our separate ways. I I just can't get on board with Evans.
26
I, I ju-
minutes against the Lake Show.
yeah, it's just the way that they utilize him has been so poor, and his shooting is so miserable unless Tyreek Evans is getting to the rim. I'm very, very uninterested in him. He's a very bad shooter. He needs to be aggressive, and we just simply haven't seen any of that. It really does concern me. Uh, he's cheap, yeah, I get that.
That's
So
what I
I
was gonna
mean,
say.
it's not
4,300 on a 6 gamer.
right. It's not crazy, right? It's not crazy. I do think the trade deadline is going to give us more value anyway,
You
but
would think.
you would hope, yeah. But his his drive rate is low. He doesn't really do much ball handling. Like when I was talking about potential assists there, he's at like 5 per game, which I get that I get that he hasn't been playing a ton of minutes. I just hate the way that they use him here. It bothers me. He's cheap though, so you could do worse, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know if
not.
we need
I'm
to
not
get
saying
there.
I want to have an infinite amount of him today, but for 4,300, if he is gonna get 24 plus minutes today,
Yeah.
I'm perfectly happy with that as a potential
I
punt guy.
I find Boyan Bogdanovic pretty interesting. Like
I like him a lot
look
more
at
on FanDuel.
okay. And that's fair. What is he? 57? Yeah,
Hmm
57. 57 56 on DraftKings isn't crazy either.
No, no, not at
But
all.
you know, you talk about what he's been able to do. The playing time's been through the roof recently. Just look since what the 31st of January, 35 minutes, 38, 33, even 33 in that blowout over the Lakers, uh, and 17 or more field goal attempts in 3 of his last 4 games. So you are getting pretty sizable usage here, and I mean it's not a huge question as to why, right? We're talking about a team that doesn't really have those high usage guys. I feel like the reason we like all of the Pacers each night is because there's nobody just siphoning off all of the usage and all of the facilitating work. You've got Collison who does his thing, Bogdanovich, um, Thad Young, Turner, Sabonis, and Sabonis isn't getting enough minutes to really influence anyone else negatively. So all these guys have been productive enough because the ball moves around a lot on this team.
Yeah, not a ton of ego. Not on this one. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
in for a
defensive
lot
ego.
of Pacers today, and I would imagine, barring some sort of thing we don't see coming, like a Sabonis trade, maybe. Um, I can't imagine this team. I mean, Collison, I guess, is potentially on the block here. I don't think that the Pacers make a move now that Oladipo is out, so I would imagine they stay pretty steady here for the rest of the day.
Or they make a move to I don't know. Sometimes teams do this, and it would be very ill-advised because it's not like they have a legitimate shot. But at the same time, that's the one problem I have with this. You talk about like we had a guest on from Vegas Stats and Information Network, VSIN, a Sirius XM show. We do cross-channel guests, and he came on last week, and we got into a conversation about how why would you pay, a guy like Kemba Walker the crazy amount of money that he's going to get? Because he's not going to bring you a championship on his own. And on one side, you're totally right. Like, just signing Kemba Walker is not going to do anything in terms for your aspirations at winning a title.
Right.
But at the same time, someone's got to sign him. Someone is going to sign him, and it's the same way with the rest of these guys. Just because you won't have the firepower to beat the Warriors, does that mean that you sit on your hands for the next however many years and wait for their window to close? Or do you still have to make moves because you're a professional organization that has to put fans in the seats, and you're going to make moves because you have to, and you have to still try and get better, even though we all know that there is a dead end in Golden State.
Yeah, it's sort of like DFS in that it's kind of like a 50-50. Some of these teams are just happy to be just over the cut line. Some teams are going to play it a little bit differently and try to win the GPP. Like,
Right.
It depends on which team you are, really, and where you're located.
Yeah.
Like a team like Charlotte, wants to keep Kemba Walker because Michael Jordan wants to be in contention for the 8th seed always.
I call that NBA purgatory.
Yes.
Finish in the 8th
is it
or the
purgatory?
7th.
I mean, what
do you mean? It's absolutely purgatory. The Atlanta Hawks under Budenholzer were in NBA purgatory for how many years? More than half a decade? Get in as the 4 through 8 seed. I know they won the conference once. They got beat up in the playoffs. Get in as the 4 through 8 seed. Maybe get through the first round, get swept the next round, get in as the 8th seed, lose in the first round, get in as the 8th seed, go to 7, lose, or win and lose in 4 the next one. Yeah, it's purgatory. But again, is it good enough
to the fans? Is that the perspective?
To everybody. But if you let me finish my statement,
sure.
I didn't mean to like you're interrupting me.
Like,
you
fuck,
feel free to interrupt me. What I'm saying is what I was saying there is it is purgatory, but the counter process to that is doing what the Sixers did and literally selling tickets for there were times where they were selling tickets, in the nosebleeds for 75 cents. I'm not kidding. This was in like 2014, dude.
I was going to say, I remember being home and like tickets were like $8 or $9.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
and
you're blowing me out of the water with that one.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. And now, I mean, it was the highest of that, and it was on the day of the game, but still. And now floor seats are like, upwards of 2,000 for if you want to get a home game against the Warriors.
Yeah.
So it's changed, but teams go about it differently. I was very happy with the way they went about it because I was tired of seeing Evan Turner, Spencer Hawes, Thad Young, and whoever else you want to throw out there take you to the a 41-41 record each season. It didn't do it for me. I had no interest in that.
And that's sort of where I was going with that when I said from whose perspective for purgatory. Because in theory, if I bought the Hawks and I was making the 7th or 8th seed and putting a ton of change into my pocket, then I'm cool to kick it in purgatory for a hot minute.
Well, sure. Yeah, of course. And I think the Atlanta Hawks were. Yeah. I think they were. But for the fans, sure, you get to buy your playoff tickets each year, but everyone knows they have no chance. The Toronto Raptors were the same way for a while.
It's a weird dynamic because, like, if somebody buys Burger King, nobody's mad at them for not being in and out.
Right.
But in the NBA, if someone buys a team, it's like, yo, you better put this thing together so that you can win the NBA championship.
Exactly. And in all fairness, this is with basketball, you have to try and win games. And if you want to tank, you can only do it for so long.
Right.
So you have to try and win, and you're not always going to have the players to do it. So it's a tough spot to be in when your team is like that, and they're going to make moves. You're going to see a lot of trades today, and you're going to scratch your head, like the Tobias Harris trade, for example. It does currently, immediately make the Sixers a better team because to anyone that says Tobias Harris is not an upgrade from Wilson Chandler, I mean, that's just silly. But is this enough to get them where they need to go? No, of course it isn't. And most of the trades, if not all of the trades, yeah, I would argue all of the trades that we're going to see today won't be enough to win the finals, but they're going to do it anyway because that's what they do.
Yeah, there's maybe like one or two trades that could possibly happen that would be ability to change the finals outlook. If the Raptors said, I think that we can go get Anthony Davis, that's like about it to me.
Yeah, I just don't think I don't think there's any chance. But if so, it's possible. I would still, you know what, I would go and I would probably bet relatively heavy on the Warriors to win the finals because you know those odds, they're like minus 210.
Yeah.
You know, to win right now. I would probably bet pretty heavy on the Warriors if that was the case. That's just me, but
I don't disagree whatsoever. There are like you were saying. I think there's one or two places where you can move.
Where there's at least a discussion, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
yeah.
If they trade Siakam and OG Anunoby and X and Y and get Anthony Davis, and you have Anthony Davis and Kawhi Leonard on the floor, you've got a better shot than you did before. You're still probably not the favorite, but like that's about it for moves that can be made that really change the title picture.
Yep.
I can't even think of anything else unless Steph Curry gets hurt, which I think is the only real way that the Warriors are.
It probably is,
because I think they can survive anything else other than that.
They can, no question. No question.
Yeah.
We should probably
do the Clippers now.
Games. Jesus.
We got through one team before going on a 15-minute discussion about the merits of sort of running in place in the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some issues.
30 minutes in, by the way, and we've got 11 more teams to talk about. Let's move on here.
We'll start putting some pace to this.
Okay, so we know that Boban is no longer a piece that we have to worry about for the Clippers.
This is correct.
Obviously, Tobias Harris not being in is a gigantic change to the Clips. Gallo is questionable tonight, just in case you wanted to make this even more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just start at the top. Most expensive guys: Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams. Lou is 8,200 now on FanDuel, 7,400 on DK. Similar price tag for Harrell on both sites. How do you want to manage these two guys now, sans Tobias Harris?
Well, in one easy sentence, I really like Lou Williams.
Ooh, okay.
Now, maybe that surprises you, but
a little bit.
There's a couple reasons why. Is he a little bit expensive? Yeah, Lou Williams is not very cheap. And keep this in mind, like a lot can change throughout the day. Lou Williams could, not even be remotely on my radar. Right now, I really like him. I mean, excuse me. With Harris off the floor, he has a 35% usage rate, a 37% assist rate, and 1.45 fantasy points per minute, Josh. Now, that's in almost 600 minutes, okay? That's in almost 600 minutes played. So we're not talking about some small 60-minute sample. No, this is significant enough to say, wow, this guy has put together monster numbers with them off the court. Take Gallinari off the court. You see his usage at 36.5%, assist rate at 38%, and 1.54 fantasy points per minute. So, yeah, in a game that I expect to be very competitive, number one. Number two, yes, Indiana plays quality defense. This game doesn't have, the highest total. But if Lou Williams, now, I think the biggest concern obviously comes down to playing time. But if Gallo and Harris remain out and Lou Williams plays 32 minutes here, right? Because keep in mind, he's played 31 or more minutes in 4 of his last 5 games.
Yeah.
So if you get 32 minutes from Lou Will with the production that he has done with Harris and Gallo off the court, 1.54 fantasy points per minute, or just 1.45 with just Harris off. That's elite efficiency right there. So yes, I get it. He is pricey, and it's funny because right now projections, aren't necessarily loving him because the prices come up. But really, his ability to produce with those guys off the court has been insane. And I don't see any other way this game stays close if Lou Williams isn't getting it done.
I don't disagree there, really. I mean, the status of Gallo will tell a really big story.
That matters a lot to me. If Gallo is out, man, I don't see how Lou Williams, if he plays 30 or more minutes, I don't see how, if he does disappoint you, it's not because he didn't take 22
Yeah, I
shots,
was
put
gonna
it
say
that way.
he's not disappointing you out of lack of opportunity.
But the thing is, that's all I talk. I can't we
I'm with
can't
you.
predict we can't predict their shooting performance. We can't
No.
predict if they're we don't know the intangibles. We don't know if he was out late last night partying in Indiana. We have no idea, right? Like we don't know if he's just
Raucous
going to come
town.
out. Yeah, exactly, and just
Crazy bar
and just
scene.
have no efficiency and just brick every shot. But I do know that in this situation, he's been jacking up like 25 shots per 36, and that's all I'm looking for. And he's assisting at almost a 40% clip. Elite numbers again.
You think Gallo plays today?
I don't know. I don't know because Gallo is he has the most checkered injury history. It's crazy. Uh, outside of like Chandler Parsons, but we'll have to see. This would be his 11th straight game if he's unable to play that he's missed, and if he's out, man, it just makes Lou Williams that much better of a play.
He's been he's gonna shoot. I'm a little nervous about the price tag. I do have Gallo in right now too, so that is a little caveat. Lou
So do
Will has been
I.
crazy over the last month.
I know, man, and the usage too. It's not just like everything, and the assist rate has been sky high.
Yeah, my worry is that he's priced at the peak right now.
Well, he's he's priced at a point where he can hurt you. That's how I see it. There's no
That's a good way to
question
say
there.
it. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, is he priced at his peak? Not really. I mean,
Ooh, we have
Lou dropped a
ownership.
nice. He dropped a 66 fantasy point game and a 56 fantasy point game just over his last 7. Like when this guy goes off, he goes off like as good as anybody. At least as good as any shooting guard, not named, of course, James Harden and the foremost elite players in this league. No, I
I
think
assume he's
can he
getting
hurt?
no ownership, so that makes it more appealing.
Well, I was hoping the same.
Yeah, he's
And
at
and if there's a
9.
guy 9, there's a guy that seriously 37% usage, 39 or 38% assists with those guys on the floor. Meaning, if he plays 30 plus minutes, he's definitely jacking up 20 or more shots, and he's going to have 15 potential assist opportunities. I'll take the low ownership and just hope that he's efficient because if he is, big things can happen. That's all.
I'm totally with you there, and that ownership percentage is reasonable to me.
Yeah, it's just too low for the usage,
Yeah, for
for the
sure.
opportunity.
I
What are you
love.
doing with the rest of the Clippers?
I'll probably have more than the public at this point. Harrell at 4%. We have Gallo in at 7%. I hope he hangs that questionable tag on himself until lock, because if he plays at 6K on DK with no Tobias Harris, I'm gonna have a lot more than 7% of Danilo Gallinari.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. Um, when you talk about Harris's rates as well, or Gallo's rates with Harris off, they're significant too. I mean, they're not crazy Lou Williams numbers, but they're good. Gallo doesn't offer the same peripheral upside in terms of assists as Lou, and he's not the greatest rebounder. But you're getting a 26% usage rate. It's funny because Gallo's per minute production with Harris off the court this year is pretty awful, 0.87 per minute.
Yeah.
But it's such a small sample that I don't really put much weight into that. I think it's like 140 minutes or something. That's not enough. There's no reason that Harris being off the court would hurt Gallinari.
No, it should help. It should only help.
Yeah. Legalize says, what are the chances Lou gets traded? It's possible. Definitely possible.
And that one would surprise me.
Would surprise me, yeah, but anything's possible.
I just don't know what team would want him to give up what the Clippers would want for him. Like, he's on such a good
Yeah.
contract that, like, having him is enticing to, like, other free agents. And I don't see anybody giving up the first round pick that they would want for Lou Will.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty reasonable statement.
Yeah. Do you want
I
any
think
part of the rest of
Harrell
these
played.
goons? Beverly, SGA?
I mean, I think Harrell probably plays 30 plus minutes.
I have him in for 30 right now.
So do I. Gortat, how many minutes do we see out of Gortat? That's yet to be seen. But
I gave him
Boban.
18.
So yes. I mean, if you have Harrell at 30, then right, you're gonna put him at 18, unless because Muscala's not playing, so you don't have to worry about that. I don't know where they would intend on playing him anyway.
Yeah.
But if you look at that game against Charlotte, Boban did not play a single minute. Gortat played 13 minutes, and Harrell played 28 minutes. So that does not equal 48.
No.
And Motley played 6 minutes. So without digging into it, my guess is that was where the rest of the minutes came from. Had to have been Motley.
If there's no Gallo, I assume Motley becomes one of the more popular punt plays for today.
You think so? Because there's no Mike Scott either, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to play 24 plus minutes probably. And
unless they just go wildly small. I mean, Doc Rivers isn't afraid to run a 3-guard starting lineup.
You can do that against the Pacers too.
Do we see Sindarius Thornwell at the 4? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm just gonna stick to a little bit of most of these guys. Harrell, Lou Will, Gallo if he's in.
Sounds about right to me.
Yeah. By the way,
I like this game for game stacking purposes, though.
So do I. Tyreek Evans ownership on DraftKings, 17%.
Yeah, way too high for me.
You can be around that number?
No chance. Way too high.
And then Turner, Collison, Young, Sabonis, Bogdan, all in like the 12 to 17 range. Makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
43 minutes in, and we just got done the first game, people. I hope you like that pace.
We can speed it up. Let's do it.
We can't go any slower. Orlando Magic hosting the Minnesota Timberwolves. 109.5 implied total for the Magic, 108.5 for the Wolves. We've got Vooch here, 9,600 on FanDuel, 9,300 on DK. I want to wrap this right into Minnesota. Towns is 11-1 on FanDuel,
Yep.
9,900 on DraftKings.
Exactly. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Vooch on FanDuel, very appealing.
Yep.
And because you wrapped in the 2, I will just tell you straight up, and it'll save us a little time. Vooch over Towns, you get $1,500 discount. Vooch is in a good matchup. Get a bit of a pace boost here. I like him a lot. On DraftKings, unless I'm like pairing them together and trying to get different, it's going to be real tough to get there because Karl Anthony Towns at only $600 more, sub 10K. There's no way I'm getting away from that.
Yep.
In terms of one of the best plays on the slate, that would be Karl Anthony Towns. He's a fantastic option. So Towns over Vooch on DraftKings, I think that's pretty simple. And Vooch over Towns. Although keep in mind, I do still like Towns on FanDuel.
Yeah.
But if there were ever a spot where you were to go Vooch over Towns, you take that savings and go Vooch where he's way cheaper.
100%. We're on the exact same page there. Keep an eye on pricing. And one's better on one site, one's better on the other. I like them both on both spots either way. But that's the easiest way to rank them. Aaron Gordon, 7K on FanDuel, 6,600 on DK. Had a really nice game his last time out. Getting some ownership here. Chalkiest guy on the Magic on either site. So that does give me a little bit of pause. But I'm fine if I get some Gordon, some Terrence Ross, some Never Google. But
I hate that nickname.
It's
so dumb.
It is, but it's really gross if you do it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously never Google him. but I don't like it. I think he's very reasonably priced though.
Yeah.
Like
He's been playing
Fournier,
monster minutes.
Fournier at 5,500. I'll tie this whole game into each other.
Sure.
Into it because you got Fournier right there. You got Terrence Ross who isn't seeing the minutes, but man, the usage in the playing time he's getting is through the roof. Just a cursory look. You got 16 plus field goal attempts in 4 of your last 5 games, 14 or more in 6 straight. He is getting shots up. Terrence Ross is coming out there for one reason, and if he's knocking down those shots, Terrence Ross is still very capable of giving you a strong game. And if we see that he goes out and he does end up playing 30 minutes, then you have a great shot of getting there. It just depends on what Steve Clifford's going to do. But I think Fournier is your safer option with the minutes that he's getting at a very comparable price. And then on the other side, by the way, I like Aaron Gordon plenty as well. No issues with Aaron Gordon whatsoever. But Wiggins on the other side, I really hate playing Andrew Wiggins. I will say this: since all the guards went down, he's averaging 6.5 potential assists per game, which is up. It's almost double what he was seeing before that, before they went down. So that's okay at least. If you can get 4 assists from Wiggins, it helps because he's so scoring dependent. But 35 plus minutes every single night, 37, 38 on the regular. He's going to see elevated usage, and we've seen that, especially with Rose out. And there is still a ceiling here. There's just also a very low floor. But I'm not counting Andrew Wiggins out. I think he's a perfectly fine play. And then Jared Bayless, man, with all of these guys sidelined and Isaiah Cannon really being your only alternative, Bayless should continue to see 37 minutes in close games. Yes, he's Jared Bayless, but when you look at the recent matchups, since he's assumed this role outside of the first 2, which was Phoenix, that was when Rose played and then got hurt, and then the Lakers, who actually aren't the easiest matchup. You have Utah, Memphis, Denver, Memphis, and he's finished with 30 plus fantasy points in all but one of those. A much better matchup here, and Bayless is still, I think, priced fine when you consider how many minutes he's playing. Minutes are king for point guards, whether you're good or not.
They are indeed, man. Just minutes in general, not even just point guards. Just
minutes, yes, but with
minutes
point
are
guards,
a great currency.
They certainly are. With point guards and centers,
yes,
they're like minutes for anyone else, but minutes for point guards and centers to me is so much more valuable because of as a center, your shot blocking opportunities and rebounding opportunities. Every minute played comes with additional possessions. So when you compare somebody like Andre Drummond with huge minutes and say Jared Bayless, who is he is the primary ball handler. They don't have anybody else. Compare that to like a Kevin Huerter. Yeah, Kevin Huerter might, fall head first into a rebound here and there and might see a few more spot up attempts, but these guys kind of control their own destiny at those 2 positions as long as they're out there.
What do you make of Saric's big minutes in the last game? Or sort of, what do you think of Saric as a play today? 3,900 on FanDuel, 4,100 on DK.
It sure is difficult to say. He played 33 minutes, 35 minutes or something, 33.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me check to make sure. Let me see if there was any significant foul trouble for Taj Gibson. I know he had 4 fouls. I want to see if they came early. So Taj Gibson had none in the first. 3. Okay, he picked up 3, and then he picked up the 4th minute into his first rotation in the second half. Then he never returned. So Taj Gibson played 7, 8, 9, 10, played about 12 minutes in the first half. He lost a lot of run in the second half. So that definitely has something to do with Saric's extended run.
Yeah.
And I think he was also just playing well. I'm not looking at that. I don't think I'm reading all that much into it.
Okay. Just wanted to point out that
What
he got
about
the
you?
33.
Yeah, no, it's relevant, but the foul trouble for Gibson does, point towards it not being natural.
For sure. Do you care at all about Jared Bayless? Just sort of, you get what you get.
Well, no, I talked about him for a while there. He's, I think if he's going to keep playing 37, 38 minutes a game as your primary ball handler, as your true point man, because they don't have anyone else, then yeah, look at touches per game, look at assist opportunities per game since Teague, Rose, and Jones went down.
So I meant
Like
I meant
Bayless
more
is,
on DK just because his price is $100 more than FanDuel.
oh yeah, I mean it's up at 5,800,
Yeah.
and
I didn't mean necessarily just Bayless in general. Just the pricing was what got me. I didn't say that well.
it's all right. He's kind of in no man's land though.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at the guys priced close to him on DraftKings, at least at point guard. You've got Collison if you go up a little bit, but then you've got Rozier, who you're not playing Rozier with Irving back.
No.
Lonzo's out, Rose is out, Derek White's out. You've got Beverly, whose price is also up. I prefer Bayless over Beverly there. Ingram, who's been, dog shit since LeBron returned and should be expected to struggle in that case. Teague's out. Smart's 5K. So I think of those guys that aren't inactive, Bayless is okay.
Even just looking at his own team, Andrew Wiggins is $100 more expensive. I can't in any way advocate to have Jared Bayless before I took Andrew Wiggins.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing, though. I think both of them are fine, and I'm not of the same mindset that you can't pay that much for Bayless because Wiggins is that much, because that would suggest that Wiggins is a good fantasy player. Like Wiggins at 5,900 is a nice play, and as I mentioned, I think Wiggins is reasonable there. Big minutes, pretty significant usage rate, a little bit more assisting opportunity, albeit not a ton, but it's still Andrew Wiggins, man, and Andrew Wiggins, like I'd argue that Andrew Wiggins has a lower floor than Jared Bayless in this spot.
I do not totally disagree with that statement.
Or maybe the same, but I don't know. I think they're both fine, but we got to remember, like Bayless is getting 37 to 40 minutes in regulation.
Has Rose been officially ruled out?
From what I saw, yes. It was Teague that was doubtful.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have them both out one way or the other, so.
Yeah, me too.
I think we're probably good to move on here.
I think so. See, that was expeditious.
Sure. We're getting there. The Atlanta Hawks hosting the Toronto Raptors. 111.25 implied total for the Hawks. 120.25 for the Raptors. Biggest total of the day. Fantastic pace up spot for the Raptors. We'll start on the Atlanta side. Trae Young getting some love. 15% ownership on both sites. 7,100 on FanDuel. 6,900 on DK. I understand it. Never excited to play Trae Young when he garners any sort of ownership.
I don't think I get there.
No.
Like you said, it's understandable, sure. But I don't think it's very necessary. And you know what? Matchup isn't everything. Matchup's really one of the things that I care least about if the price and the minutes and the usage are all there. But it doesn't make him more appealing as a play. I can tell you that much.
He's been solid. 1.1 fantasy points per minute over the last 30. He's been better than I thought he was.
Trae's been good. And, Lloyd Pierce has, outside of that last game, had been, giving them a lot more run. It's kind of funny, though, because, like, we saw Pierce give him all those big minutes the game before, and you're like, okay, will this continue? And, well, we don't know, because with Trae Young, it didn't. And then with John Collins, he got hurt. So,
and he's supposed to play today, FYI. 7,400 for Collins on FanDuel, 8,100 on DraftKings. You can safely ignore John Collins on DK, I think.
Yeah, you can.
That's just it's inopportune pricing there. Can he be solid? Yeah, you're gonna have a hard time. He's gonna have a hard time like paying that number completely off. 7,400, I'm fine with on FanDuel. I don't really know what to make of the Dedmon, Len, Amari Spellman trio that's going on now. These guys bounce around so much. Spellman, his last four, 37, 19, 24. Those are minutes totals. I can't wrap my head around these guys. Outside of the fact that it seems like Alex Len is the least important of the three.
Yeah, well, when I look, I just don't really think I need to get there.
Yeah.
In any of them, like Alex Len, if Alex Len was getting the minutes, even if I said Alex Len could play like 25 minutes, I'd have legitimate interest. But so Dwayne Dedmon's fouled out in back-to-back games, right?
Yeah.
He played 27 and 20 minutes against Phoenix and Washington, respectively. Len played 18 and 14. So he's not even getting all of the backup center minutes. Spellman played 30 minutes last game, 7 minutes the game before that. I just don't have any interest in trying to. I don't have any interest in trying to guess.
I agree. I have a hard time really wanting to get to a bunch here. Most of these guys are priced better on FanDuel, but I'm indifferent to most of Atlanta today.
I am too.
Raptors, on the other hand, welcome back, Jonas Valanciunas, maybe?
Dude, if Joe plays and sees 18, 20 minutes, I think I could make a pretty good argument for him at $4,200 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I have him in for 16 minutes right now, but I don't disagree. He's in play.
Again, we might not need to. Value might open up with this trade deadline.
Yeah.
I would expect that to be the case. But if nothing does, and you're saying, okay, I need a guy that's a high per-minute producer that, if given extended run, can just blow the roof off of it, Joe Val's definitely capable of making it happen. He could become entirely unnecessary. But honestly, looking at the rest of this team, you're right. It is a great pace-up spot for Toronto. But I'm not sure how much love I have here. Like, I find Lowry pretty interesting, but am I getting to Kawhi? Probably not. I still don't. I'd still rather pay $200 more for LeBron James on FanDuel. I still think LeBron's a better play even against Boston. Maybe we disagree there, and I don't know if I get there. I wouldn't blame anybody for doing it. Kawhi Leonard's a very good player. I think a lot of it will depend on where his ownership falls. Right now, we have him at 14% on DraftKings, and on FanDuel, we have him at 21%, third highest or fourth highest projected ownership on the slate. And does Kawhi really kill you in this instance if you don't have him? I have trouble believing he does.
Yeah,
You're a Kawhi guy. I'm assuming you have a decent amount.
I'll probably have more than 14%, but it's nothing that I'm going to go crazy over.
Like, where are you at on Toronto though?
I like Kyle Lowry a little bit at 7,100. And it's, I hate saying it, it's sort of narrative-y in that I don't know how he feels about being brought up in trade talks. He was very clearly salty yesterday in quotes, talking about how the Raptors are going to do what's best for the Raptors. So we'll see how that affects him. But 7,100, I'm okay with it, especially against Atlanta and Trae Young. If I end up with some this game is just so appealing from a pace perspective for the Raptors, from a total perspective. So getting guys like Ibaka or Siakam, even Van Vliet, I don't mind having some of these guys. Just I think there's going to be a lot to go around. I have them projected for 260 fantasy points spread across the team. Like there's just so much opportunity here that I would hate to be like underweight on this just to get other guys that I don't think have the same sort of potential ceiling.
I kind of feel like if you were to end up with 10-15% of all of these guys, not all of them, but with a bunch of them, like 10-15% of Ibaka and Kawhi and Lowry, you'd probably be pretty happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Like, do I see myself getting to Danny Green? No, probably not.
Is he gonna start playing again?
I was just gonna say the same thing. That is pretty interesting. You know, the utter lack of playing time. Look, Danny Green, if he's not getting the minutes, that no discussion and even touching him.
No.
But now Norman Powell's getting 16 or more minutes every night. This team wasn't healthy in full. They weren't whole for most of the year, right? Like CJ Miles, sometimes he doesn't even play, but he is healthy. Patrick McCaw, sometimes he doesn't play at all. DeLon Wright. Point being, not to say like these guys are all taking minutes away from Green, but there's so many ways that Green can lose minutes. And a team that was down Powell, that was down Miles, that didn't have McCaw, that was down how many different players? Oh, Anunoby, they're all healthy now. So they've got a very, very deep bench. And Nick Nurse can kind of do what he pleases.
I just assume that, Danny Green's a little dinged up and they realize their status in the East and are like, yeah, just take it easy, man. We got a couple weeks for you to just not redline the RPMs.
Yeah, because Danny Green's always redlining.
I mean, he was playing, 30 plus minutes a game for a stretch.
No, I hear you. Or is it that they're like, all right, Danny, we don't necessarily need the 35 minutes of what you bring to the table, which is maybe once in a while you'll knock down a corner three, and aside from that, strictly defense. Maybe they're just not in dire need of that.
Right. Yeah. Danny Green is a guy that you want to be healthy in a playoff series so that he can play defense and shoot corner threes and just be that dude. Danny Green in the regular season is not really what you're looking for.
Sure. No disagreements there.
Yeah. Leonard,
a really great
Lowry,
fit on
Ibaka, Siakam, Van Vliet. That's where I'm at.
He'd be a great fit on the Sixers, Josh.
Oh, yeah? I would love to watch Danny Green play for the 76ers while I eat my Hello Fresh dinner.
I bet you would. I bet you would. You'll say anyone's a good fit for the Sixers.
They just need better talent. They're top heavy.
Oh, that Jakob Poeltl. Man, imagine him in the red, white, and blue.
No, there's no fit there.
Pau Gasol. Oh, bring a championship back to the city of brotherly love.
Somebody's got to get one there.
How about that Greg Monroe? All right, let's move on.
How about that Tobias Harris?
Hey, could have done worse.
Yeah, they did it 2 months before that and got Jimmy Butler.
You're such a Philly hater.
Oh, I am. Not the Sixers, though. That's the weird part of it all. I actually really like the Sixers.
I feel like subconsciously you do not like any of them.
No, Phillies, Eagles, that's not subconscious. That is just, that bubbles to the surface real easy.
Well aware. I think with the Sixers, though, you have true disdain. Like, you'd love to see Markelle Fultz go elsewhere and become an all-star just because he was drafted by Philly.
I would like him to be healthy in Philadelphia and be really good and have him and Simmons and Embiid be the core of like a really dope team. I was all for that. It should not shock you that I'm a big Sam Hinkie guy.
Dude, Sam Hinkie around here, anyone that actually knows basketball knows the Sixers. He is a god to a lot of people. A basketball god, I should say.
Yeah.
Not worshiping false idols over here, Josh. But no, he is. I'm kidding, my friend. He's somebody that did a lot, and then they booted him out, and Colangelo screwed up a lot.
That's an understatement.
Sure
no, I root for Philly basketball mostly because the city of Philadelphia doesn't care as crazily about Philadelphia basketball as they do about baseball and football. It's a very much more tame thought process. You can get stabbed over your opinions about the Eagles and the Phillies.
No. Phillies are super bandwagon around here, dude. Big time bandwagon.
Yeah,
fans.
I guess I'm appropriating my thought process to when it was like the Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Billy
Yeah,
Wagner Phillies,
or bring it
where
back to like Mike Schmidt too. But the
it's Eagles all
Philly,
day, every day.
it's totally Eagles. And the Flyers cult following
Yeah.
is is intense, bro. Like they sell out every game.
Yeah.
Though those who those who follow the Flyers are intense about it.
I still
They are
hate
intense.
Lindros.
But the Sixers, yeah, Scott Stevens ended his career. But he did, dude. He laid him out at the blue line, and people hate when I say, hey, shouldn't have had his head down. He cruised past the blue line against a monster in Scott Stevens, one of the best defensive players ever. Just put that, boom, done. But the Sixers are big around here right now.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I'm very much pro Sixers, or at least I was with Hinkie. But, you know, I like the old Iverson, Aaron McKee teams.
They were fun, man. They were fun.
Matt Geiger.
What are
Celtics
you
and
doing
Lakers.
with what are you doing with this game? Because on the surface, it's kind of ugly.
I don't think that we can talk about the Lakers right now.
What do you mean by that? Because of the trade? We have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, I've got 10 guys projected in, and 5 of them might not be on the Lakers at 7 o'clock tonight. It's not even like injury news.
No, you're right. It could be bad.
So I think we could touch on Boston.
Imagine if they get Anthony Davis, they will literally be down like 4, not picks, but 4 bodies, like 4 bodies that were on the active roster.
Yeah, it'd be like 140 minutes out of this game or something.
I know. I don't think the Lakers have what it would take to even get Anthony Davis. I'm serious.
Ooh, I 100% disagree with you.
I don't think they do. But you probably value some of these players more than I do.
Not even that, but if you get Ingram, Kuzma, Ball, and then whatever else it is, Rondo and salary filler, and they make that be 3 first-round draft picks, I am 1,000% in.
So 3 picks in the bottom 5 each year.
Why are they in the bottom 5? We've got sketchy-ass injury history Anthony Davis and old-ass LeBron. These picks aren't the next 3 years. They have to be in 19, 21, and 23.
LeBron's on what, a 4-year deal?
Yeah. That last pick will come probably after LeBron.
You wouldn't be trading for Davis if you didn't. Okay, the last pick, fine.
I mean, the Lakers have been dog shit for like 5 years now.
They have, but LeBron James at this age, if you were to act like his influence is not monumental, that he takes teams and they win games solely because of LeBron James, that any team that's giving up draft picks where LeBron James is still playing at a high level, which he is, and then adds Anthony Davis, I just disagree. If one of them's after LeBron, then sure. But you're to act like those draft picks while LeBron and Davis are playing alongside each other are going to be, super valuable. I'm not to say you can't hit on somebody, but you sure as shit aren't getting lottery picks out of it. And that's the crown jewel in basketball. So my biggest thing is, look, Davis doesn't want to be there. So it is what it is. But I'd like to unload Davis to a team where I got a legitimate shot of nabbing a lottery pick and trying to replace him relatively quickly, because we saw what the Lakers looked like without LeBron James when Ball was healthy and Kuzma was out there and Ingram was out there. They were a pedestrian basketball team. And Lakers fans can hate me for it. People can disagree, but everyone knows it. They were the worst offensive team in the league when LeBron James was out. So his impact on this team is immense. And I just think, yes, Lonzo is a fine player. Kyle Kuzma is a nice player, but you're giving up a top 5 player who, to be fair, doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
But you're giving up a top 5. The interesting thing about basketball is, 3 top 50 players oftentimes won't come close to 1 top 5 player in terms of overall impact on a season.
For sure. I'm with you there.
That's
Yeah,
all
look,
I'm
it's all
saying.
about the long-term value of those picks for me. And if it gets to 3 first rounders, I have a lot of interest in that in 19, 21, 23, or 20, 22, 24 in that
Okay.
instance.
All right. Yeah, I think it could go against him, but at this rate, what are you going to do? You got to get rid of Davis. He doesn't want to be there. I'd love if I'm the Pelicans, I'm trying to get an unprotected pick from, like the Knicks or something or whoever. I don't know all the teams trade situation or draft pick situations. I don't know if they've swapped, if they've lost picks, but um, if I were to get their number one overall draft pick this year, uh, and then next year, which
Here, let's say
could
this.
change a lot.
Let's say that the Pelicans take 3 picks and all those dudes from the Lakers. What do you think that the Pelicans can get from the Suns for Lonzo? Could they get this year's first round draft pick from the Suns?
I mean, I wouldn't. Could they? Maybe, but I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Like
Because that's the sort of pick you're looking for, right? The Suns pick this year.
100%,
Okay.
100%. But I also look at things differently. Lonzo's a good player, and I think he's going to be a good player for some time now.
Obviously,
But
this isn't happening with Tyler Johnson trade now, but that's neither here nor there.
right. But say it again.
Well, now that they did that Tyler Johnson trade yesterday and took on $24 million to Tyler Johnson for the next 2 years,
Right,
like them
right,
trading
right,
that,
right,
the
right.
Suns trading that pick and
For
getting
sure.
a point guard isn't really like on the table the way that it was yesterday.
Agreed. Lonzo Ball's a very good player, but Lonzo Ball is not a player I would ever try to build my team around. I just wouldn't. He's not somebody that can shoot.
Right.
And until that changes, until he can actually get to the line with 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 any routine consistency, because that's important. Then he's a good player, but he's not a player I'm building around. So would I give up, an unprotected lottery pick that's almost certainly going to be in the top 4 for Alonzo Ball? No, I wouldn't, because while nothing's guaranteed in the draft, I'm hunting for guys that can change the face of the franchise for years, and that should have been Anthony Davis, and it wasn't.
I do not disagree one bit there.
So yeah, just to clarify where I'm at on that. It's not that I think the Lakers couldn't offer a very nice package. I just don't think in terms of equivalency, it's going to make a big difference in terms of ever getting to a finals. But hey, they weren't getting there with Davis, so what's it matter, right?
I think if they did it, I think they could really, if they wanted to, continue to piecemeal off what they bring back.
That could, that's that. Yeah, the Sixers did that a lot actually.
Yeah.
With less impactful players, but I kind of feel bad for the Pelicans because they did try. I'm not saying they did it right.
Yeah.
But
Shout
they
out
did
Solomon Hill's $48 million deal.
Oh yeah, I mean terrible. But I think like they did try to add some good players to this team, Mirotic and Randall, and
I mean,
which
Drew
is to
Holiday
me
became a
Drew
revelation for this team. He is
100%.
fantastic.
Dude, Drew Holiday. Even bringing Elfrid Payton in, like when you looked at that lineup to start the year with Payton and Holiday and Randall or and Davis and Mirotic, each one more decent enough 3-and-D guy with Randall off the bench, you say, hey, that's not a bad team. They're not winning any finals anytime soon, but no, neither are 28, 29 other teams. I thought they were a decent team, and the injuries and inability to have any cohesion there because their defense was terrible just kind of tore them apart.
Yeah. All right. We've got 3 games left. We're at an hour 14, so we should be able to hit right on the 2.
Fine.
We'll hit the
We're
2-hour
fine.
mark.
I think we'll get under it.
We'll see. Let's talk Boston here. By all accounts, everybody's healthy. And barring some sort of crazy blockbuster that ships Kyrie Irving out here, I don't expect anything really to happen on the Boston side.
Me neither. Which is why Al Horford, I think, is a perfectly reasonable play. I do prefer Myles Turner at a similar price.
Same.
And then aside from that, I'm not really getting anywhere outside of Kyrie Irving. And
Talk
I
me
do
into
think
5,800 Tatum.
Yeah, sure. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
I mean,
But
obviously this is prime Kyrie, but
yeah, this could be. Look, Kyrie is expensive.
yeah,
Totally understand that, and he's. I love. You're not going to get Kyrie Irving much cheaper this season with the way he's played.
not on
And
DraftKings.
right. Yeah, on FanDuel, you probably get him back down into the mid 9K range at some point.
Yeah.
But the how do you not love a pace up spot like this for Kyrie Irving, right? I mean, this is a significant pace up spot for Boston. The Celtics this season play at what, the 18th fastest pace. The Lakers are in the top 4. This is a great opportunity for Irving just to come out there and smash. And yeah, it's not the easiest defensive matchup, but I don't have many concerns either. Lonzo Ball being out should do us some favors as well, just from a matchup standpoint defensively. I like Irving a lot here, and then Horford would be next in line, and then Tatum a distant third.
I would go Irving, Tatum, Smart, Horford.
I
But
can't
I
get
am
to a
generally
5K
pessimistic on Horford.
Okay. And why?
I don't know. He's just a guy that never goes absolutely crazy in my projections. Like, I've got him projected for 34 DK points. And like that feels like exact for some reason, I don't see, like, these are just names and data in my sheet. But for some reason, Al Horford projects exactly like the way I picture Al Horford playing basketball.
Yeah, pretty much. Really, he's been one of the most underrated centers in basketball for many years.
Yeah.
Forget about fantasy. Uh, Al Horford is one of the most underrated centers. That's my personal opinion. I just think he's been a great player, a good team player. He never hurts a team, no matter where he's at. You think
one or
he
two
does?
playoff series against Cleveland did not go very well for Al Horford. But,
Sure. I'm talking about.
I agree. He's
over
the perfect guy. I don't think there's a team
Right.
on the planet that would be like, I don't want Al Horford here.
Right. Exactly. And completely unselfish, can contribute in a bunch of different ways. I haven't projected at 36.4 DraftKings points, and at that price, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. And I totally understand it. I don't like him if he's the chalkiest guy coming out of the Celtics.
No, of course not. Of course not.
I just like Tatum a little bit more in that scenario, but no issue with most of these guys from Boston. Marcus Morris on DK is a tough sell because of his price, but a lot of these guys are just simply underpriced. And then you can just completely ignore Terry Rozier, who's 6K.
Yep. What's interesting, before we move on to the next game, Horford and Turner on DraftKings right now with our ownership projections are both at 17%. And I think that's pretty reasonable, actually. I'm not crazy, or I don't think either that those are too high given their price points. I do prefer Turner, but then you have Horford at 11% on FanDuel right now, and Myles Turner down at 10 or 9%. So a little bit different salaries,
Yeah.
positional restrictions, so on, so forth. But that's where they're at.
I think LeBron looks really good at 10-3 on FanDuel.
He
But
certainly
honestly,
does.
I mean, we are making up a take. You'll be able to watch the deeper dive and live before lock tonight to understand what you should do with the Lakers. Anything we say right now is largely useless.
Outside of LeBron James.
Yes, he's the
I
one
don't
guy
see it.
definitely
That's
not
not
going
changing.
anywhere today.
Right. Fortunately, even if nothing happens, he's really the only one that I'd be all that interested in. Maybe you could talk me into Rondo because his prices come down a bit on DraftKings, but aside from LeBron, who is definitely discounted, I'm not really interested.
I like Kuzma and Rondo quite a bit if this team is what they're supposed to be tonight.
Rondo's 61 on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Kuzma's 54.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Ingram at 57 too. I'm in for on FanDuel. These guys have really nice price points.
I'm good on Ingram.
Lance for 3,700 too is going to be quite popular when all is said and done here, I think.
Ingram's just been dreadful with LeBron on the court.
Yes, he has.
We'll wait and see. I mean, it would definitely be surprising if we don't see a lot of movement.
Yeah.
A lot
So
of
I
movement.
would love to give better takes here, but I mean, they might have to replace 100+ minutes today. So
Oh, very possible.
OKC and Memphis. Thunder 114 implied total. Ooh, Jonas Valanciunas will play tonight.
Yep, he will be active. By
By
the way, Ingram with LeBron and Rondo on the court this year, 0.69 fantasy points per minute.
nice.
That's not good.
That's not nice. Oklahoma City monster favorites, 13.5. We know that Marc Gasol is not playing, and then it's just this sea of like slow-mo is questionable, and JaMychal Green is questionable, and we have no idea if Mike Conley gets traded. Let's start on the OKC side. Really terrible spot in that it is a slow matchup, and a blowout is mildly likely.
And Paul George is what? He's $1,300 more expensive than LeBron James on FanDuel.
I can't see how you play Paul George on FanDuel today.
It's really tough.
Not with LeBron and Kawhi there. Say what you want about Kawhi or whatever, but like it's just too. You play Kawhi over Paul George at 11-6.
You have to. It is a massive pace down spot. Since the start of 2019, the Thunder lead the league with playing 104.7 possessions per 48, averaging that many possessions per 48. Memphis at 30th, 96.1 possessions per 48. That's 8+ possession differential, negative or -8 differential for OKC. That's a big difference, man. That is a big difference. Also, when you talk about the blowout concerns, well, there's one thing saying, well, okay, this Memphis team with Gasol and Conley on the floor, they could get blown out. But now you're talking about Marc Gasol. Already we know that he's not playing. And then what are the odds that Mike Conley's out of Memphis? I'd say they're pretty good, especially with how well he's played, man. You want to talk about a guy I'm happy for. I'm happy for the way Mike Conley's played after, dealing with so many injuries and a lot of people saying like he's not going to be able to get back to where he was. He's having the best season of his career. So pretty happy for Conley, but is he even going to be there? I think Memphis is another team that's going to be hard to talk about right now.
Yeah.
So I'll start with OKC. Westbrook is still appealing to me just because he's got triple doubles in 7 straight games, and the guy just gets it done even when he's not scoring. But not a priority for me here. I don't mind balanced today, and by balance, well, not even balanced. But if you were to not look at LeBron James, you do have the Towns and the Irvings and the Vooches. There are some really nice 9K plays and a couple of 8K, mid 8K options too. I think you can go that route if you're single or 3-maxing, and you don't have to get up to these guys. But yeah, not the most appealing spot for OKC by any means.
No, not at all. I'm cool with Westbrook and PG on DraftKings. Paul George at 10K on DraftKings I think is a little bit more reasonable. I never have much of an issue having some Steven Adams, but he's never a guy you want to have a bundle of. $4,900 Dennis Schroeder, I think, is a very interesting spot today. If you think he gets any additional run if this game goes south.
Fair enough.
He probably doesn't.
Have much to say on shit.
He probably doesn't. That's the problem. But for 4,900, it's a price point where I think that he can deliver a ceiling game in a GPP if you're playing, bulk lineups. Not a single entry guy.
Yeah, it's possible for sure. He's cheap enough. Could he see a few extra minutes in a blowout? Yes, but he could also lose minutes in a blowout because he's the first guy off the bench. So
yeah,
if it comes to a case, if it comes to a spot where they're up by 30 going into the fourth quarter, Billy Donovan won't really have much reason to keep him out here or keep him out on the court. You'll probably look to Raymond Felton and toss his ass in there. But I mean, kidding. He hasn't played in how long?
Yeah,
But
I forgot he was on the team.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like Schroeder's not going to finish the game. He's not going to play 16 straight minutes in a 28, 30-point game.
By all accounts, Ivan Robb should play like 26 plus minutes. He's also chalky, so be aware of that. 5,100 on DK. Just play him, probably.
I see. I have a different take on this. I think Joakim Noah's status is massively indicative of what you should do with Ivan Robb. If Noah is out, then I could see getting 30 plus minutes for Robb again. If Noah plays, I'd probably put him around 22 minutes.
Ooh, okay. So
And
I have him in at 16.
in at 16?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's the thing though. He didn't play. So last game, Noah did not play at all.
Right.
And Robb played 33 minutes. So if you're putting, would you say 26 minutes?
Robb?
Yeah. What do you
I
have
gave him
him
30.
at? Oh, I thought you said he's probably going to play 26 minutes. 30 minutes for Ivan Robb at $5,100 on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel at 6,300 against the Thunder and Steven Adams. Hard pass for me.
Okay.
But here's what I will say though, and that look, this is obviously risky. If Noah's active, I'd rather in tournaments pay down and get maybe 5% of Joakim Noah at hoping he gets to 20 minutes or 22 minutes, which I don't think is unrealistic. He's played 20 plus minutes in 3 of his last 6 games. So half of the last 6 games he's played, he's gotten over the 20-minute mark. He's got a 21 and 18, 24, 12, 22, and 16. Now there's no Marc Gasol. Ivan Robb playing 33 minutes is very unlikely if Noah plays. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, 22 for Noah and 26 for Ivan Robb. I don't think that's out of the question. Noah's just so much cheaper, basically minimum salary on DraftKings. He's a +1 per minute guy this season.
Yeah.
If Robb, as he's projected right now, is going to be, 20% owned at a massive price hike, then I have no problem getting away from that. Obviously, I'm in the minority, but I think if Noah plays, then I will be off of Robb almost entirely.
Interesting. Okay. I get what you're saying. I don't even totally disagree. If I know that Noah's playing, I can see going to 26 and 20 minutes there. I still like Robb then regardless. I don't just have an infinite amount of him in that case, but I would still have some of him.
Yeah, that's I mean, look,
because he's going to play regardless of how this game shakes out.
I just don't expect like earth-shattering numbers from Robb. His prices come up massively overnight. OKC, but the one benefit is that the Thunder lead the league in pace of play over the last month. Well, actually, over the last 1+ months.
I'm giving Memphis an extra 5 possessions over their normal game, which is about as high as it gets.
Yeah, exactly. It makes sense.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, sure, you it definitely benefits these guys. I just have trouble getting to like Ivan Robb on FanDuel. There's no way I'd be paying 6,300 for him, but 51 on FanDuel or on DraftKings, it's fine. If
yeah, I don't like that $6,300 price tag on FanDuel at all.
Yeah, right. If it's just Noah playing does to me make a difference, and we'll see because it should be considered that he did not play last game.
Yeah,
and we don't know what it'll look like if he does.
Very true. If Slow-Mo plays 4,200 on DK, I'm unfortunately going to do that, and it's gonna be a thorn in my side until 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, well, Slow-Mo, I don't know if he benefits from pace up spots. No, he's just so deliberate with the way he moves. It's not to say like it's not like he can't run the court.
Eh,
Obviously not. Obviously not the greatest at it.
Not the greatest
But
at taking a shot in the final 30 seconds either.
was that the worst thing ever, man? That
It
might have
was
been the worst 20 seconds of
it was
basketball
hard to
played by one
watch.
individual ever.
It was hard to
It was
watch.
it was really bad. It was really, really bad. If he plays at this cost, I like him quite a bit actually.
I know, it's
You know?
disgusting, right?
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
Mm-mm.
And I don't want to say take this with a grain of salt, but just be leery of the idea that Kyle Anderson could become garbage value if some of these trades break everything open. It's just as of now, an active Kyle Anderson against the fastest paced team in the league since the start of January is appealing, especially given that Marc Gasol's off the court. We might not have Mike Conley. It's yeah. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say there.
I mean, Shelvin Mack if Conley's out.
Yep. Jaren Jackson is always in play.
Yep. As long
regardless
as he's
of
not
anyone's
out.
status. And then the more people that are out, the more you should like Jaren Jackson.
I think from a matchup standpoint, this game benefits Jackson the most.
Yeah.
But he could foul out in the first half.
Certainly could. This is the Grizzlies are the other team that you need to check back in for the deeper dive because this team could look a lot different. Although this is mostly just an injuries thing, unless Conley gets moved, because we know for a fact that Marc Gasol is not playing today.
Correct. Told you we're going to make it under 2 hours.
Yeah, let's close this out. Everybody, hit that like button while you're here. Appreciate it. We haven't asked about it since Lafayette and I have been too busy talking about a lot of things that have nothing to do with today's slate, like Red Dead or HelloFresh or the value of draft picks for the Pelicans.
And we're still making good time.
Yeah. Well, we got off to a pretty slow start in the middle of that Pacers-Clippers game. I didn't think we were going to dig ourselves out of that hole.
No, I mean, we do have very obvious problems, and we're willing to admit it. But
we do. Blazers Spurs 116.5 implied total for the Blazers, 111 for the Spurs. Outside of the Blazers making a real blockbuster here, we can assume that these teams look the same. The Spurs basically don't make trades ever at the deadline. Of all the teams of the slate, you should expect the Spurs team to look most consistent to everything else that's going to happen. They have basically never been a part of a trade deadline. So
exactly.
We'll start on the Portland side. CJ's starting to get a little wind in his sails. They're playing bigger minutes again. Lillard, 9,600 on FanDuel, 8,600 on DK, $38 on Yahoo. He's pretty chalky, 25% ownership split across FanDuel and DK. How do you want to manage Dame here? He looks great.
I was responding to a comment. For some reason, I still had the Deeper Dive YouTube page open from yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And I saw a comment that says, Lyles is balking. He meant to say balling. We get y'all are trying to brainwash us with a brain emoji. Guess we have to pay to play with all these emojis. Now, number one, I think the amount of information we give out on these shows is second to none in terms of not holding back.
Yeah.
The premium content on awesomeo.com has so much to offer additionally, complimentary on top of what we offer. But to act like we hold back is the most ludicrous statement ever. And the reason I find this comment so ridiculous is because, number one, Lyles finished with like 23 fantasy points.
Yep, he played
number
22 minutes.
Number two, he played 22 minutes. Number three, Miles Plumlee got into massive foul trouble in this game. Yep. Miles Plumlee would have played a lot more minutes than he did. He got into foul trouble in the first half. He played 6:49, got one foul, came back, got that second foul, returned with and then Lyles comes in, gets the third foul, and then Lyles comes back in, gets an extra 2 minutes, okay? And then Plumlee gets the fourth foul, plays 4 minutes in the second half, gets full line hockey shifted by Malone because they were playing poorly. So Lyles gets additional run because of that. Doesn't play the fourth. He would have played 16 minutes in this game had Plumlee not gotten into trouble and had Malone not gotten pissed off at the entire starting lineup in the second half.
Yeah, and like, what did Lyles finish with yesterday? Fantasy points,
like 23 or something.
Right. Yeah, which is exactly what we would have. That's exactly what we were projecting him for. There was no reason to think that he was going to get massive minutes, similar to Jordan McRae until all hell broke loose.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Jordan McRae still.
Oh yeah,
he still sucked, right?
Yeah, and he basically shouldn't have played.
And he played 19 minutes. I had him projected at 16 minutes. When Otto Porter got traded, I gave him a few extra, but added more to Bryant, assuming that Brooks would just go with a bigger lineup. McRae and that game blew out too. So, yeah, McRae, we were right on McRae, but I just find that funny about Lyles. Like he had 22 fantasy points or something, and he got literally 6 extra minutes because of foul trouble. Would have played 16.
We didn't think he was going to get the opportunity, and he didn't get the opportunity.
No.
It went just like we were talking about. But for people to think that we like have this elaborate meeting before we start to like take people off of the stuff we want, it's hard enough to just prep for this shit.
Oh yeah.
Not that it's hard, but like I don't have that kind of time. Not to mention, I'm sharing everything I do on my screen right now.
Yep.
Let me know who else is doing that for the past year and a half.
Exactly.
What do you want to do with Dame? 8,600 on FanDuel, chalk. 8,600 on DK, chalk rather. 9,600 on FanDuel, chalk.
So the chalk is a little surprising to me, actually. I was a little surprised to see that he was expected to be that popular. So if Dame's going to be as chalky as he currently is now, and granted, it's all spread around a bit. 24% on FanDuel, 26 on DraftKings. Like that's definitely chalk, but it's not, Mason Plumlee chalk.
No.
Right. Really take it or leave it when it comes to Dame. He's looked a lot better recently, at least in 2 of those games. Man, how long did he go without hitting 50 fantasy points?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I guess what I'm saying here is, and I use this phrase a lot. It's I don't know, even at that cost, I don't know if Dame kills you with the fade.
Sure. He could.
He could.
He grades out really, really well for me, so I assume that I'll be on him similar to the public. How are you handling Rodney Hood? Because I think that has a lot to do with the rest of this team. I don't have him in right now because I wasn't sure, and it appears that he's going to play, and I don't know where to get those minutes from. Zach Collins played 8 minutes the most recent game. Does Seth Curry stop getting run? Does Jake Layman stop playing 25 plus minutes? I don't know what to do with these guys.
Not play them.
How many minutes does Al-Farouq Aminu play? He's played 17, 22, and 16 in 3 of his last 4.
I know. And Harkless has played 21, 19, and 31, but the 31 against Atlanta, I forget what the reason was. I remember looking at that, and Dame didn't even play that game.
Yeah. I don't know what the real rotation is for these guys outside of knowing that I can give 30 plus minutes to Nurkic, 36 plus to Lillard, 36 plus to McCollum. After that, it's like, okay, is it Turner? Is it Curry? Is it Hood? Is it Myers Leonard? Is it Zach Collins? I don't know what to do right now. I don't know who to rip minutes from.
I don't really have any. I'm just not that interested here. I mean,
neither am I.
Let's talk about like Jake Layman, Evan Turner, Al-Farouq Aminu, Mo Harkless, Rodney Hood. Who cares? Like I care
if one of them gets run.
Right, but but we're trying to figure out who's going to get run amongst a bunch of guys who are just, to put it lightly or bluntly, not good.
Yep.
I mean, I think Aminu's actually a good basketball player, but from a fantasy standpoint, he's a 3-and-D guy, and his minutes aren't even there. Now, granted, the Utah blowout, that had something to do with it, maybe, but he played 16 minutes against Phoenix. That also devolved into a blowout, but still 16 minutes is way low. I like him a lot more in games where he needs to play, where you need his defense against a Kawhi or a LeBron or something, or an Anthony Davis. None of these guys to me are even worth trying to figure out.
I don't disagree. I'm just trying to massage these rotations to figure out where I need to end up, and I can't figure it out at all. I gotta pull a bunch of minutes from Al-Farouq Aminu right now, and Mo Harkless, and I don't know. I mean, Stotts for the longest time was always giving people like 22 minutes, and he had the most strict rotations in a game. It was generally pretty easy. Yep. Now he's got a little bit too many mediocre guys that are available to play.
Yes, he does. Look, I like Lillard. I'm not enamored with him just because right now we have him as the top owned player on both sites.
Yeah.
And with somebody like Nurkic, barring foul trouble and blowouts, he will get the minutes. And I think people still don't acknowledge that. He's still a stellar per minute guy, right? I mean, he's just fantastic in that respect. On the season, he's averaging 1.38 fantasy points per minute. He's awesome. When you talk about slate breaking upside, Nurkic can provide that, especially when he's $7,900 below that 8K threshold. I have no issues with Nurkic here, particularly on DraftKings. Aside from that, though, I don't really see myself getting anywhere. But on the other side, I feel like Aldridge at, what is he, 7,800 is just wildly underpriced.
I do not disagree with you there. I like him quite a bit.
85 on FanDuel, surprising too, because he's been way overpriced on FanDuel recently.
Yeah. I'm cool with DeRozan too, even though he's been downright dreadful lately. Hoping the day off helped.
I have no problem with him at all.
No. After that, I'm good.
Let me ask you this. On DraftKings, would you rather DeRozan at 76 or Lou Williams at 74, assuming Danilo Gallinari's out? Because I'd rather have Lou.
What's the ownership? Lou
DeRozan
at 9 right now.
DeRozan at 11.
Yeah, it's Lou then.
Yeah.
Lou for sure.
DeRozan on FanDuel, 17%, one of the highest right now. Lou Williams at 10%. Granted, Williams, 8,200, the most expensive player, but also, pretty much the same price, well, $300 more than DeRozan.
Do you want anybody else from San Antonio?
What's that?
Do you want anybody else from San Antonio?
I'll just throw this out there. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bertans play another 30-plus minutes. Remember, he got 34 minutes before with just Derek White out, before Aldridge and DeRozan. Not to say DeRozan makes the difference there, but before Aldridge was out, they played that game against Sacramento, and he played 34 minutes. I think it was Sacramento, yeah. And yesterday, they kept it close through 1.5 quarters, and then it just unraveled. But Bertans played 9 minutes 9 minutes in the first quarter, and then he played 10 minutes in the second quarter, right? He played 4 minutes in the third quarter, never came back in. They just got rocked, absolutely rocked in that third quarter. I think they lost the quarter by like 17 points or something.
Yeah.
And then the game by 39. It got wildly out of hand. The bench came in, was emptied, and it was over. It's funny too, because dude, Curry played almost all the way through the third quarter. They could have pulled him like 6 minutes into it. All not that you would. I mean, you still want to seal the deal. What's that?
They could have pulled him at the tip.
Right. I mean, it was okay. Yeah, it was competitive. It was, I think, a 2-point game, with 4 minutes left in the second quarter, and you blink your eyes, they're down by 14 at halftime. So I do think Bertans can still get the minutes here because Derek White being out should still definitely favor him, and he's still very cheap. So if you need value and nothing opens up, Bertans would be one guy to look at. Aside from that, I'm pretty much done.
Yeah, I have him at 26 minutes right now. That could go a little bit higher. The tale of the YouTube chat is fantastic. DeRozan easily over Lou. Clips getting blown out. Clippers right now are a closer underdog to the Pacers than the Spurs are to the Blazers.
Yeah.
And then
well, they're both
the immediate
points,
follow-up to that was True Birds fan saying, Pacers blow out Clips. Have you been watching the NBA lately? Most recent game that the Pacers played, they beat the Lakers like they owed them money.
Yeah.
They beat them by
42 points.
Yeah. Yeah. So they can clearly put it on you, apparently. It's just
they can.
It's funny how two separate I thought both comments were ridiculous and they were arguing with each other somehow.
Yeah. But like predicting the blowout, and that's your reason for having no interest in a guy when a game even more so has a 6-point spread. Like, could Indy blow him out? Yeah, sure. But is that why I'm not targeting somebody? No, not at all. And the games have the same spread.
If you want to pick a blowout here, it's in Oklahoma City or potentially 100%. In Atlanta.
Yeah. But are we going to ignore that DeRozan still does not seem fully healthy? I mean, I'm not saying that he isn't, but there's something going on here, man.
Gallinari available to play today.
I still like Lou, but that definitely takes some shine off. I'll tell you that much.
Sure. I mean, I'm trying to pay. Like, look, DeRozan's been at 0.97 fantasy points per minute over his last 30 days.
I have him
at 0.98 today, which makes him a tough sell. But in a GPP, I can get there. But he has not been the DeMar DeRozan we have come to know and love.
No, he's devolved into something that we haven't seen in quite some time, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with him. I still think that price is very reasonable.
Shout out Masai Ujiri, if he ends up signing Kawhi, by the way. What a cash in.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
And they got Danny Green in that deal.
Yeah, to act like DeRozan and Kawhi as a lateral move is insane.
Yeah, I mean, that's just such a what a perfect deal if they could and even if he doesn't re-up him, okay,
sure.
You got out of DeRozan's deal. You still have a ton of young talent on the team. Obviously, It's going to hurt, but
Joe Val will have his minutes monitored. I hate that shit. Just tell us what's going to happen.
I mean, it's not like he was going to play 30 today anyway.
No, right. But why say that then? Like, why say minutes monitored? He already is on such a restricted amount of playing time to begin with. What are you monitoring his 20-minute cap on minutes?
Well, here's the real quote. We could ignore Labs. Nurse says they'll manage JV's minutes for tonight and for his first few games back. Play him in 5 to 6 minute stints. That's more helpful to me.
Yeah, okay. So Joe Val's going to do what he always does.
He's going to play 18 minutes. He plays 6 minutes in the first, second, and third, and he probably doesn't see the floor in the fourth unless it's going weird. Otherwise, if it's close, they're playing other dudes. And if it's close, holy shit.
Or he plays 12 minutes. That would be my concern.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to get 4 5 to 6 minute stints off the bench. So maybe he comes in
he starts.
Yeah, no. Maybe he
The
comes
Hawks.
in with 3 minutes left in the first, plays 3 minutes into the second, and does the same thing in the second half.
Would it
Actually, I
shock?
wouldn't be surprised to see that be the case.
I wouldn't be surprised if he starts.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, this is a guy that hasn't been playing a lot, so you get him warmed up in warm-ups and you keep him warm instead of parking him for the first 8 minutes to cool back off. And then you don't. I mean, whether he starts or not is totally irrelevant to the outcome of this game. It's not like
No,
he's closing.
Okay, but not irrelevant to his fantasy value because if he starts, then I could see him getting a DeMarcus Cousins type of game where you play
6,
5,
6,
5,
6.
5, and 5.
Yeah, I agree. I could see that happening. I see no reason that he couldn't start this game.
Okay. I'd be surprised, but if he does, I would have a lot of interest because I could really see him playing 4 or 5-minute rotations like we got with Cousins in his return.
Yeah. I'm not saying
But
like
also
it's particularly likely, but that logic in my head sounds right.
that's possible. That's
Ultimately,
possible.
it doesn't matter to the Raptors, and that's really the
Right.
key. It matters
Yeah,
to us
it
from a DFS perspective, but they don't give a single shit.
doesn't make a damn difference.
No, and no one on the team, like no one's gonna be like, I cannot believe we're starting Jonas today. So if that's the way that they think that they could work him in and manage a rotation in a Thursday game against the Hawks, like that's just gonna happen to make it easier for them to manage his minutes coming back from an injury.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. If he starts, it's something you want to keep an eye on.
I think so for sure.
Hour and 51.
Sure.
We made it, man.
I knew we would. Not
Earl
bad.
Fountain. Hey, Lofty, can you imagine Boban on South Street?
That's awesome.
People not knowing about basketball being like, hey, fuck you.
That's awesome.
Beat it, Lurch. I can't do a
that'd
good
be
Philly
cool.
accent.
You tried.
Yeah, it's poor. I just immediately go to yelling in a knockoff Boston accent.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
How long is it going to take Boban to start calling things as John?
That's settled down. That's settled down. But yeah,
Him
I
and
don't know. It'd
Embiid
be
just
funny
running
hearing him
shit.
talk like that. I can't wait to see Boban out there. I hope he gets some minutes.
I'd like to. Can you imagine how tiny a cheesesteak looks in his hands? They're like sliders to him.
Yeah, 2 bites, gone. So weird that he's in Philly. Never
I
would have
know.
thought.
It's fantastic.
A big Boban.
It's so
Beautiful.
fantastic. Get him out there ringing the bell.
They really should.
Him and
Forget
Meek
about
Mill.
Tobias Harris, man.
Yeah. I love it. I love it so much. Got to run the Rocky steps.
Nah, he wouldn't make it.
Oh, it'd be so much fun.
He wouldn't make it.
Alrighty, let's get out of here. Hit that like button on the way out. Here's what we got coming up. Osmo Odds betting show in 15 minutes. Be Jordan, Jason, and Ben. And then Fast Eddie and I are coming up at 2 o'clock talking trade deadline all the way up until the deadline at 3. Then we'll have Adam will have the deep dive out at 4:55. And then the deeper dive at 5. And live before lock from 6 to 7, myself and Eddie closing it out. These are going to be probably the most important deeper dive and live before lock of the season.
Yep.
So you don't want to miss these because it's going to look a lot different than everything we just talked about. Lofty, anything else?
No, you're probably better off not even making lineups until a while from now. There are certain teams, certain players where I think we're pretty safe, but in terms of overall roster construction, that doesn't make a damn bit of difference.
And goodbye to John Osimo in YouTube chat. You're not coming back anytime soon. Best of luck, everybody. We'll talk to you later.